into Pride Fest for just a $1 donation today from 2:30 until 4:30. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies, and then mostly cloudy tonight with a slight chance of rain. We'll have lows in the mid-50s in Milwaukee, upper 50s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Kroot.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, thank God it's finally Friday.
Hey, my favorite day of the week. Hey, Crudy, happy Friday to you, my friend.
For our friends in Madison, it's a stormy Friday.
Well, and here in Milwaukee, it's going to be stormy tomorrow.
That'd be stormy Saturday. But today it's Friday. We got a little show to do. As far as I know, I will not be attending the Stormy show tonight. That has me feeling a little sad.
Of course, Stormy Daniels, Donald Trump's favorite porn star, is on the Make America Horny tour again. She will be showing up at one of Wisconsin's strip clubs, Silk, out in Middleton. That's your neck of the woods, Crudy,
Yeah, really,
tonight.
it's right down the road from me.
That's on Friday. That's tonight. And she will be performing in Milwaukee tomorrow night.
You know, my eldest son graduated 8th grade yesterday, and he got a day off school, and my younger son had school, last day of school. Poor kid. But anyways, my wife and I took the elder son, Caden, took him to lunch today, and we're sitting there and we're eating at our favored pancake place in Middleton. And my wife, I talked to her about going to a movie tonight. I think the kids are going to be gone.
Go and take her to a show, a live show perhaps.
Well, the subject was breached. I did mention it, and then look intently for a reaction in her eyes. Oh, she's in town? And she looked back down at her pancakes.
So she didn't say no. I think that's an invite,
I
man.
think I've got a maybe at least. I'm going to put my wife down for a maybe.
Well, it is my lovely wife's birthday on Sunday.
Happy birthday, Stephanie.
Yeah, and we're going to be going out of town, so unfortunately, I did break it to her today that we will not be. I was going to surprise her and take her to the Stormy show tomorrow.
So you're not going either?
I will not be attending the Storm, no.
So it looks like we're just going to have
Guess
to...
it's up to me, guys.
Brian,
you going to the show?
Take one for the team.
I absolutely cannot.
Go and see the show. Here's the good news. I mentioned to you one day, Stormy Daniels on one of the cable news programs, and she was trying to get out of, like an SUV, and she's wearing a short skirt, and she was trying to, keep her knees together and step out onto some heels. Looked like quite a delicate act. I can't believe women do it. Guys would not be able to pull that off with any sort of aplomb.
I could do it. I'm pretty athletic.
And you pointed out to me, well, you can see her entirely naked and fornicating on the interwebs, probably for free, right now, this moment.
If you so choose, sure.
Maybe not in the White House, maybe not in the West Wing.
Donald is not too fond of the limitations. Apparently cannot watch porn at the White House, according to Mika Brzezinski. I'm not making it up. Someone else said it.
Well, Dom, the president does seem quite a bit lighter in his attitude today. Perhaps it's the fact that he's no longer at the White House, not in the short run.
Right.
And he claimed, the newest claim about Melania, unable to fly for a month.
What?
Yeah. Like, no, honey, I feel 100% confident. That's what the doctor told me while you were under anesthesia. So you can't go with me to the G7 summit. But Donald Trump, he had some things to say this morning, Tom.
He always has things to say.
But he's had sort of a light of spirit attitude, like he was going away for the weekend with the mistress.
Very happy to be stepping out. Is that what you're telling me?
He seemed a little exuberant, one might say.
Maybe Melania's recent kidney surgery or whatever procedure she had, blood clots could be a
embolism, they said.
Something. Okay. But if she were to have surgery or whatever, and blood clots could be an issue when you fly. So maybe he's just looking out for his
Are
wife.
you giving cover to the lie of the day of Donald Trump? I'm not saying it's a lie, but I'm just saying I suspect that this is some sort of self-serving, Trump's got a porn star waiting for him in Canada sort of a deal.
And where after Canada, now I understand he's going to be leaving a little early and maybe have to reschedule that meeting with Macron, the Twitter war back and forth with the French president. He's going to have to reschedule that one. But then he's going to go what, right to Singapore?
Right to the meeting with Kim Jong-un.
Oh, he's been preparing for that his whole life.
So I hear. That big event happening on my birthday, Dominic, although no party, no Stormy tickets in hand, nothing to celebrate this momentous occasion in radio history.
Your birthday next week? Come on, man. We're having special elections on your birthday. For your birthday, how about a blue wave, Crudy?
That would be of some consolation, right, but I'd rather,
go see Stormy?
Have Stormy take a selfie in my lap tonight and give me an exclusive.
She is not answering any reporters' questions, but you can go get a VIP package for like $600.
Really? What's that entail?
Maybe that's a little high. What do you
think you get for the $600?
I think that's high. I think there was $150. I think for the $600 you get like 4 people and you get a bottle of vodka or something like that. For the more expensive one, and then there's like the $150 for the meet and greet.
You know who is going to be at that big event today? Jesse Apoyan.
Jesse's going?
Yeah, Jesse
from Cap Times?
Apoyan. Yeah, our fine little friend, Jesse.
Oh, good for her. Taking one for the team. Going to go but report, I guess, report back.
I would hope so. Maybe get her own little lap dance.
Was nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm sure she's a modern woman, both of them. But anyways, back to the Trump sound. Man, we're not even out of the gate yet, Dom. We haven't even talked about the exuberant, newly freed from his encumbrance, which might be his wife, Donald Trump going on the road. And Dom, he also looks forward to a birthday which he shares with you.
Yes, the president and I have the same birthday.
Flag Day.
Flag Day. Everybody.
False Flag Day.
Come on. It's a big day, man. It's Flag Day. They put out the flags for the Patriots. That's why.
I tell you what, let's play Trump talking about what he's hoping for his birthday. It's a Comey report. Play cut 80.
Well, it seems that it's coming out on my birthday. Maybe that's appropriate. Let's see it is.
Maybe it's appropriate. Maybe the indictments will come out on your birthday as well.
Cut 81.
He's a very dishonest man. I've been saying it for a long time. I think I did our country a great a really great favor when I fired him, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what the report says.
Trump calling somebody else dishonest is like you ripping on someone for being fat. That's just not okay.
What? Was that a fat joke? Are you fat shaming me for no apparent reason mid-show?
Big boned?
I'll kick your butt.
Come on, Trump.
More of Trump. Cut 82. Talking about the unfair trade. He's always victimized.
We're going to deal with the unfair trade practices. If you look at what Canada, Mexico, the European Union, all of them have been doing to us for many, many decades, we have to change it. And they understand it's going to happen.
So he's going into the G7, kind of playing bully with what? These are our allies, are they not, Tom?
Well, there are friends who've been taking advantage of us, if you believe the words of President Trump.
Now, Trump's been threatening to tear up NAFTA for some time, but I'd like to jump forward one beyond that point, Tom. Trump doesn't think that all the people that should be at the party, the G7 party, he thinks it should be, let's call it a G8 party. If you would fancy, Brian, let's play cut 84.
They threw Russia out. They should let Russia come back in because we should have Russia at the negotiating table.
What?
It's like he's got a certain fondness
for Russia?
For the Russians.
Well, why do you think that is? He seems very prone to support them. He never criticizes Putin. And now he wants to bring them back into the G6, G7, G8. Why? And why was Russia thrown out in the first place? Do you recall that?
Invasion of Crimea.
Right? And where
I didn't know I couldn't do that?
And that's what? That's like the Ukraine, right? And where did Trump's campaign manager do all his work?
It's just like bonus Russia.
Bonus Russia? You just take what you want, give nothing back.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to deflect from the question you asked me. Yes, of course, Paul Manafort and Rick Gates, who I understand is now giving state's evidence, and perhaps even Manafort's son-in-law,
ex-son-in-law,
I understand is also giving state's evidence. And today was a big day for Manafort as well. Hell, Friday, it's Mueller time, Dom. New indictments come down and new indictees. And it's another Manafort associate.
Konstantin Kilimnik, charged as well.
It's almost like Mueller's trying to put Manafort's cojones into place. And he's turning up, cranking up the pressure, just like we're going to do to all the Republicans, all those that govern badly. More devil's advocates on the other side. 844-967-2789. Air your Friday grievances here.
Russia, if you're listening.
I think I did our country a great fire.
Oh my God, we're burning alive!
Hi, I'm Mahlon Mitchell, and I'm a Democrat running for governor. I've been a Wisconsin firefighter for over 20 years, and as firefighters, we respond to our community on the worst days of their lives. We come together and make sure all hands are working to fight for people who need our help. But I don't see that happening in our state. Our schools have been neglected. Crime is a problem. People are working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet and still can't support their families. We need a governor we can trust, someone who looks out for our community. That's why I'm running, but I can't do this alone. I need you to vote. So remember, on August 14th, let's make history, but let's make it count together. Vote Mahlon Mitchell for governor.
Paid for by Mahlon Mitchell for Wisconsin.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
What are you waiting for? It's time to join the union. I'm Andy Buck, field representative with the Painters and Allied Trades District Council 7 of Wisconsin. You're already doing the work. You deserve to make a fair wage. You work hard, but your body isn't going to last forever. Cash feels great in your hand, but having health insurance, a safe workplace, and a secure retirement gives you peace of mind. Join the union and make your job your career. Look us up online, Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. If you're a painter, glazer, drywall finisher, start getting paid like it. Join the union.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Popping bottles in the ice.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming on the Facebook and YouTube pages. You can hit us up on Twitter at Devil Radio. And the party line to talk or text, 844-967-2789.
You know, I had considered making a request of Patti LaBelle. I got a new attitude on this show today. And you chose this music instead.
No, we played some Deep Purple, Bad Attitude, the last segment, but we talked over the lyrics, man. You know, you had to bring us up to the end, Crudy, right before. Got to use all that time. So, G6, man, the way Trump is going, the G7, hell, it might be the G6. They boot Trump out. Or it could be the G8 if he brings his buddy Pootie Putin back in.
Sure, it could be the G69. It's Stormy Friday. I gotta be a little gutter mouth today.
Just a little, just today?
Just today.
Just for Stormy. I mean, hell, what would Trump do? WWTD. I'm gonna get like a rubber bracelet, walk around. What would Trump do? I know what to do. You grab him by the
We've got a little more Trump sound. And I think we got a guest joining us here in the studio, but you never can tell.
It'll be a surprise.
For all of us. Super secret guest maybe coming in like 8 minutes. But anyways, let's get back to the Trump sound. Trump from earlier today. Now, you talked about this. He's at the G7, but he's been bragging quite a bit. He's got this big soiree planned, he and Kim, on my birthday. And it was on, and then it was off, and now it's back on again. These fickle girls. But anyways, you would think Donald Trump would be preparing studiously for this big summit, perhaps the biggest one of his young presidency.
Well, perhaps a normal president would make the effort.
Well, one might say Trump's been preparing for this meeting for his entire life. Played for the people. Fancy Brian, cut 85.
I said I've been preparing all my life. I always believe in preparation.
Which means I have not done any preparations.
Like when he sang God Bless America the other day?
You know what he said, and I'm not clear if we have it. I don't know if we missed it somehow, but Trump said basically it's all about attitude. It's all about his tude. As long as he brings the right attitude to the summit.
It's all about the swagger,
and
man.
Of course, he's had
a suit. You gotta wear a suit, man.
A draping suit.
Well, that's the only way to hide that belly.
So, let's just keep going. I'll stop trying to make points today. And then out of left field, Donald Trump wants to pardon Muhammad Ali, cut 86.
He was not very popular then. His memory is very popular now. I'm thinking about Muhammad Ali.
Why?
Why not?
Well, he has... Let's keep going. He is talking about Muhammad Ali and talking about pardoning Muhammad Ali. And Ali, what? Deserter? Not a deserter. That's not the right way to characterize. He refused. A draft dodger, much like Donald Trump.
Bone spurs.
The difference being that he did so publicly, he didn't go get a deferment for some fake ailment. Muhammad Ali made a very public stance predicated on his religion. But anyways, he was talking about pardoning Muhammad Ali, and he talks, well, he wasn't popular then. Yes, he was. He was the champion of the world.
I think a lot of people knew who he was.
He was right up there with the Pope. Anyways, more of the self-aggrandizement and perhaps the self-pardoning of Donald Trump. He felt the need to say it again today, cut 87.
I'm not above the law. I never want anybody to be above the law. But the pardons are a very positive thing for a president. I think you see the way I'm using them. And yes, I do have an absolute right to pardon myself.
Because I'm above the law.
No, but he just said he's not above the law.
But his actions
if to pardon
and his
himself
statement would be entirely above the law.
So he can have it both ways.
You know, maybe this animus he's feeling with these NFL players, maybe if he just pardoned a few of their buddies, you know, he feels much better just throwing pardons willy-nilly.
You get a pardon. You get a pardon. Everybody gets a pardon.
And I'm going to ask them to recommend to me people that were unfairly treated, friends of theirs or people that they know about, and I'm going to take a look at those applications.
I got a buddy T-Bone. He got shafted, and now he's in the pen. What?
I got my buddy Konstantin Kalimnik. How many of Trump's former inner circle are going to be sending like each other? You write me and I'll write you in, huh? Crudy, I'll say, I want Crudy to be pardoned. You can say, I want Dom to be pardoned. And we'll all get pardons.
Now, is that a pardon, or would that be, let's call it witness tampering obstruction of justice?
You know, when you say it like that, it just sounds so illegal. Just helping a buddy out, man.
Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates. Here to help you out on a Friday afternoon to get you all the way home, play some funky G6 club music.
Yeah.
Is this EMF?
I don't know.
Should we put some strobe lights in the studio? More of us on the other side. You can join us as well. Maybe we'll take your musical request. It's got to be better than this. 844-967-2789.
This is what the kids are all listening to, and by the time Trump gets done with this trip, there may be nothing left but a G6.
Like a G6, like a G6, like a G6. Now I'm feeling so fly, like a G6, like a G6, like a G6. Now I'm feeling so fly, like a G6.
I always believe in preparation.
Does that make sense?
Don't even think about it.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. So, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
It's hard to dream when you're fighting for 15. This is Pizza Box Mike for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Check out fightfor15.org to get involved in the fight for 15.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Next Tuesday is Election Day in Wisconsin. Voters in the state's 1st Senate District and in the 42nd Assembly District will be going to the polls in a special election that Scott Walker tried to postpone. In the 1st Senate District, Democrat Caleb Frostman is facing Republican Andre Jacques. In the 42nd Assembly District, Democrat Ann Groves Lloyd will face Republican John Plummer and Independent Gene Rubenstein. And the Brewers were off yesterday. They start a 3-game series against the Phillies tonight in Philadelphia. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies, and then mostly cloudy tonight with a slight chance of rain. We'll have lows in the mid-50s in Milwaukee, upper 50s in Madison. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain, highs in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, upper 70s in Madison.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. He's here, the eagerly anticipated guest. He is Mahlon Mitchell. He's a fine, dim gubernatorial candidate. And Mahlon, I got to tell you, man, I gave you proud a few of them. Bad choices. You know who I mean.
Like who?
I'll get to that a little bit later.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't listen to. The only song I heard was, I think, Evers.
What did Evers march into?
And I actually don't remember.
It was not memorable.
Okay.
School's out for summer. Way to go, Brian. Thank you for that.
Oh, that makes sense. That's good.
School's out for
forever.
Summer.
But you can't. You only had 30 seconds.
I would have expected some Lawrence Welk from Tony. A 1 and a 2. Mahlon, you had a fairly successful convention, I would say, in a couple of different ways. And here are the metrics I measure your success by. A, the emotion, the passion of your speech from the stage. That was obviously a big night. Lots of interest. In all the gubernatorial speeches, you did well. B, second in the straw poll, which, first would have been better. But second, a strong showing when it is a field of 10. And 3, Friday night in the hospitality suite, Mahlon Mitchell, you set the bar. You jumped down into a half split, and that is a move of athleticism that none of your rivals could possibly match. I would assert,
You
sir.
saw that?
Saw it, heard it, witnessed it.
You're lucky it wasn't on Facebook Live. So, Mahlon,
got me some votes. And Congresswoman Gwen Moore, who has endorsed our campaign, she actually came in and danced a little bit as well. I don't know if you're there for that. But.
Nice.
I did not see Gwen dancing. She is a friend. I would have joined her, at least if they played Brick House. But again, your impressions overall, your performance, and how your performance and your impressions of how people reacted to you at the DPW.
Well, I've actually had the opportunity to speak a couple times at that convention, and the funny thing is that I've gotten longer and a longer opportunity to speak when I wasn't running than when I was running. So, like, I've had probably 10 or 15 minutes to speak the last 2 times I spoke, and this time you only got 5, and they actually cut off your mic, as you could tell, after 5 minutes.
But 10 candidates, I mean, that's a lot to
I'm not complaining about it. I'm just, I am as far as speeches go, I'm not the best speaker. I'll obviously admit that, but I like crescendo. I like time. I like to have like a build up of it, like a story. And within 5 minutes, it's hard to do that. But I mean, I enjoyed the time and I appreciated the time to speak. I didn't listen to any other candidates other than Tony because he went right before me. But I thought we did well. And then the straw poll getting second. I'll be honest with you. We had, and I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody, but we had about 15 or 20 firefighters there that came as guests, and they were actually in the room when I was speaking. And I don't think any of them voted. I still want to beat.
It was not very clear the criterion, what qualified you to participate in the straw poll.
It was not. And be honest with you, I didn't even tell them to go over there and do it. I actually forgot about the straw poll once we got rolling and actually going to caucus rooms and getting prepared for the speech, and then also the hospitality suite. I mean, once our hospitality suite started, we were there, and I was making sure that we were going to have the most kick-ass hospitality suite. I was trying to have it in
You
history.
definitely had the party going on at your
Absolutely,
hospitality
yes.
suite. One of the themes of your speech, you talked about a firefighter who had been tragically affected, not to the point of death, but he was paralyzed. Tell us a little bit about that story that was so central to the theme of your speech.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about it. It's probably the last time I've actually cried, and I'm not trying to say that to be funny. I think it was, and we real short in 2003. I had about 6 years on the job, and we had a young man by the name of Casey Carlin. Had the world. I mean, he was just ready to go. He's a young guy, Iraq war veteran. His father was on our job, had recently retired, and he bought a house. I was a realtor on my days off. He bought a house. I was his realtor. I called him, and I said, "Hey, Casey, we got the house. We'll finish the paperwork on Monday." He actually went up north to celebrate, and put new tracks on his snowmobile, and he ended up being in a horrible accident where he actually came out. He had to get med flighted to Duluth Hospital. I was the last person he talked to on the phone, so he actually must have triggered calling me when he fell off the snowmobile, and I had actually a voicemail of other brothers from the fire department pumping on his chest, breathing in his lungs. Wow. So I heard about 2.5, 3 minutes of that. And, as firefighters, we have a sick sense of humor. I didn't tell all this at the convention because we didn't have time, but we have a sick sense of humor. So when I first heard that message, I actually thought it was a joke. So I called my vice president at the time. I said, "Hey, did something happen to Casey, or are you guys kind of screwing with me?" Or people go, "No, he's in a coma right now. He's unconscious at the hospital." So we drove up to Duluth. Long story short, he ended up being a quadriplegic. Wow. At that young age. And what I saw next is what really got me involved in unions, and that is I saw the union brothers and sisters from the Madison Fire Department come together, build him a house, get him the best wheelchair that money could buy, get him the best home health care provider that money could buy, and actually take care of him in his greatest time of need. And we actually were able to take him hunting. He's an avid sportsman. We were able to take him hunting, even though he was a quadriplegic, years later. But he died at the age of, I think he was 33 years old, 34 years old when he died. But it's a sad story, but the silver lining from that was watching union members come together to help. And I correlate that to what we could do here in the state and what we could be.
Let me ask you, you've got a big event coming up on Monday.
You guys coming?
I'm not clear. We'll have to check my schedule. I'm a busy guy, Mahlon. Lots of events.
What's the event?
Yeah, tell people about it.
I have a rally. We're going to do an old school rally at the Concourse Hotel at 9 a.m.
That's in Madison.
Yes, Madison Concourse Hotel right on Dayton, 1 West Dayton Street. in Madison at 9:30. 9 o'clock.
Are you asking me or telling me, Mahlon?
9 o'clock
Let's
on Monday.
assume it's 9:30, but get there early just in case.
9 a.m. is when the rally the doors will be open, and we want people to gather. And it's going to be like a rally like we had when we were all there in 2011, and we all came together to fight for what's right. And we're doing it at the concourse, which is right across from where we stood many, many times. And we actually gathered at the concourse most of the times before we rallied to get a plan of attack with the AFL-CIO. So my international president, Harold Shapeberger, will be in town. He's got to help kick it off. AFL, who has endorsed our campaign, AFL-CIO, President Phil Neufeld will be there to speak as well. So everybody's invited. We hope you can come. It's got to be a heck of a good time.
And that's the Concourse Hotel in Madison on Monday, June 11th, approximately 9
a.m.
will open.
9 a.m.
9-ish.
It's a place to be.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Mahlon Mitchell joins us in studio. Mahlon, it is a touching story, and I certainly appreciate the brotherhood that you feel. But I don't know how that translates into politics here in Milwaukee. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is the local firefighters union here voted for Scott Walker.
That was the first. They endorsed Scott Walker the first three times.
Yes, they endorsed Scott Walker. And through some of the policies of the state of Wisconsin right now, we have our firehouse right down the street here just got closed.
Yeah,
and the guys that we used to see on the street every single day, part of this very tight-knit Brady Street community, are no longer there. They got shuffled over to some other firehouses. As governor, what can you do to help bring some of that money back to areas like Milwaukee, who continues to pay in more to the state than they get out, and then get all the grief from this particular governor? And how do you reach out and connect and bring along your fellow firefighters here in the Milwaukee area?
Well, that's a great question, Dom, and we're already doing that. Just to be clear, the Milwaukee firefighters have not endorsed Scott Walker this time. So that's a good thing, right? We're making progress.
All right.
And yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. When shared revenues cut, when a place like a city the size of the city of Milwaukee is not able to have any sort of local tax or not able to have local control enough to actually raise their levy to pay for essential services, what you're going to see exactly is fire stations being closed, because public safety is a huge part, 60 to 65% of any town, city, or village's budget. So what you see normally is a cut in essential services, in this case, public safety. So we marched against the city of Milwaukee, and we stormed City Hall. We brought about 200 firefighters there in October of last year, I believe it was, maybe September of last year. But we went to the City Hall, and we brought 200 firefighters there, and we marched against the cuts. But now Mayor Barrett said it probably appropriately. He said, well, you're at the wrong building. You should be at the state capitol. And which is true, because the state has not allowed for Milwaukee to have any a city of its size. Milwaukee's the only city of its size that has no local tax whatsoever in order that just stays right here. And like you said, there's a indiscrepancy when you're sending millions of dollars to the state, and then you're only getting a portion of that back. So we need to do everything we can in our power to make sure cities have the ability to have local control back. Because while Republicans talk about giving more local control, they actually do the exact opposite. They take away local control.
They're fine with local control when it's their people in control and it's a Democratic governor. Then it's all about local control.
Then they want local control, keep government out of my city agency. But now it's Big Brother knows best, and city of Madison state of Wisconsin knows best what needs to be happening in the cities. So one thing we talk about, and it's not a sexy issue, but shared revenue is very important when it comes to paying for fire stations. And if the city of Milwaukee did not have the cuts in shared revenue that we've seen in the decline over many years, then they could keep the fire stations open. Now, that's not taking the onus off of what the city should be doing. I'm not saying that, but I will say they're not getting any help from Governor Walker.
Right.
Well, Mahlon, he's still villainizing, especially the public sector unions, big government union bosses. He's talking about you literally.
And his first commercial had a firefighter in it.
Isn't that ironic? What do you think? Is it feasible.
Not one of my members, though.
For the unions to rise up, get strong again. I mean, Mahlon, the unions have been under attack for basically since Walker's been the governor, and of course before that, even from the Reagan years forward. But can the unions get strong? And are you, sir, the gubernatorial candidate that will help build the unions and rebuild, collective bargaining in our state?
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear where I stand when it comes to Act 10. I mean, it's very clear where I stand when it comes to right to work and prevailing wage being repealed, which just happened in Michigan yesterday, and PLAs. But I'm against it, and it's an attack, and it's what Governor Walker said he was going to do, and that was divide and conquer the unions. But quite frankly, he was talking about our state, divide and conquer the state, politics of division, with sprinkle of politics of resentment and saying you don't want the rest of the state to look like Milwaukee. Or even when Mayor Sagan got in, he said, well, we don't need more of Madison in our state. And that makes you think, like, what are we doing here? So, yes, I'm the candidate, but I'm not just the union candidate, but I don't shuck away from being a proud union leader. I mean, unions help build the best middle class in the world, and we should not be ashamed of that. When union wages went up, all wages went up. Private sector as well as public sector wages went up. So we need to, the state of Wisconsin needs to raise. We need to raise wages for everybody. But yeah, I'm the candidate that's actually worked on behalf of working people day in and day out. I'm the only proven candidate. I don't care what anybody else comes here and says. I'm the only candidate that actually has done the work of working on behalf of working people every day and is committed to doing that for our state.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Got a fine candidate for governor. He's a Democrat. He's Mahlon Mitchell. He's our friend. Mahlon, you can stick around, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk more on the other side. More Devil's Advocates. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, 1510, 1580. We'll be right back.
We're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions, because you divide and conquer.
Having a great time.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
Here at Bounce Milwaukee, we not only want families and friends to build connections, we also want to grow those connections in our community. That's why every Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m., we host Refuel the Resistance. It's a great chance to have a drink in our arcade bar, try something from our fantastic restaurant, connect with progressive activists, and support local organizations. For more information about Bounce Milwaukee's Refuel the Resistance, visit us at bouncemilwaukee.com or call 414-312-4357.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here.
Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic.
I'll keep getting endorsements.
Dom and Cruz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio
live
show
mic?
on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio
It
Network.
has been for a few seconds now.
Mahlon Mitchell, Democratic gubernatorial candidate, joins us in studio on a live mic. Thanks for sticking around,
Hot
Mahlon.
mic.
Mahlon, I got to tell you, as we were talking about off air, let's let the audience in. You did not, and I was a delegate. You could have called me and said, "Crudy, vote for me in the straw poll."
Yeah.
You were not trying to quote unquote win the straw poll. I mean, I guarantee you were trying to, place well as all candidates would, but you didn't make any particular effort. In fact, you just told us you didn't even vote.
That
the
was
straw
off
poll,
the record.
You didn't say this is off the record.
Wow, this is a tough group. I thought we were friends.
Oh, come on.
You damn near said it on a live mic. You might as well do so now.
I want to be clear.
Yes.
It's not that I didn't want to win the straw poll.
Yes.
I don't want to make it seem like that. But I'm just saying we had a lot of other events, priorities that we put in front of the straw poll.
You didn't particularly campaign to go out and try to win the straw poll.
I did not actively. Now, I asked when we were in some caucus rooms for those to vote in the straw poll, but I'll be honest with you, and this is not indicative of me being sloppy or anything like that, but I didn't see the straw poll as being, because there's a straw poll every
Are you going to
year.
give me the Mayor Saigon excuse?
No, I don't have an excuse. I actually got busy caucusing and talking to people and actually talking to voters and talking to them delegates, and then we had our party.
And it was a fine party.
And I forget. I'm just
was,
like, hey. And
once the party starts, man.
Well, there are other firefighters up there we brought from Madison and from around the state, and they also didn't vote. I actually thought you had to be a delegate to vote, but I guess
that was
you
my
didn't.
understanding historically, but not this time apparently.
Mail, I want to ask
Guests
you.
could vote. Anybody could vote, I guess.
The Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Foundation put forth their criteria. They were challenged a bit. Some Democratic gubernatorial candidates threatened to boycott. They kind of backed off, and then yesterday entirely canceled any sort of debate for the Democratic candidates.
And the Republicans, at least the primaries.
Want to get your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny. I'm just going to tell like it is. It's funny how everyone is saying, we need to narrow down the field. We need less people on stage. We need to hear more. But then when the opportunity presents itself, and I agree, and I wrote out that, hey, these are the people that got signatures. These are the people that actually got on the ballot. So everyone should have the opportunity to debate. Now, functionally, I don't even know how you do a 10-person debate. I did hear a good idea the other day that you have 5 one time and then 5 another time. But problem is, then I'm against the 5 that maybe I would have not go after, but maybe I would have debate with this other person.
Right,
I don't know how you
right.
do that. Maybe you do it with a random drawing, but regardless, even if it's random, you're not going to be on the stage with the people, everyone you're running against. So I can understand why the need to try to narrow it down so that you could have more than just 1 minute or 30 seconds to give an answer. But I believe if, the people have spoken, if everyone has the 2,000 signatures required to get on the ballot, everyone should be allowed to debate. And let's do it. I mean,
but now there will be no debate, Mahlon. There will be no televised debate. There will be no WBA debate. And my little buddy thinks someone's going to step in the breach, and I'm thinking, whom would that be?
Step in the breach to do what?
To televise a gubernatorial debate. There will be no televised debate. That is the crime. That is the tragedy as far as I'm concerned, Mahlon.
Well, what do you think should happen?
Well, I think we should do some made-for-radio events, man. We can solve this problem butt quick. We're just the radio station network to do it.
I don't know how to do. I mean, 10 people on stage debating, that could take some time. But I guess the Republicans did it, though.
You don't have to put 10 on the stage at the same time. Think about the Educators Amplified Gubernatorial Edition. You were on the stage with 3 candidates for an hour, but of course that would be a longer endeavor than what the WBA. They were going to try and do it all in an hour, minus commercial breaks, like 44 minutes, and 10 candidates. That just doesn't work. Logistically, it would have been too cumbersome.
But the problem with that is, though, how are people going to pay attention? And people are going to get fatigue after the first hour. So every candidate's going to want to be on the first hour.
So let's do it every Friday night. We'll do Friday night fights right here on Resistance Radio.
They had us doing musical chairs this morning. I don't know if you saw that Phil Hands cartoon. I'll show it to you.
Don't always catch it. You can show us during the break. Hey, remind people again, if they want to join the AFL-CIO, the International Brotherhood of Firefighters, rally on your behalf Monday at the Concourse. About 9?
Monday, 9 o'clock at the Concourse Hotel, which is right 1 West Dayton Street, right off the square in Madison. It's going to be a good time, rip-roaring time. We're going to get fired up, ready to go. And this is 2 months out. We actually are about 2 months out from the primary.
9 weeks and 1 day, sir.
There you go. And it'll come down to just one person. I want to be that person. I think I'm the best person. I think we've set up the best candidacy and the best, quite frankly, coalition to actually win this thing. And not only win the primary, but actually beat Governor Walker.
Give them the website, Mahlon.
MahlonMitchell.com, MahlonMitchell. MahlonMitchell.com. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram.
More of us without Mahlon. Thanks for coming, though.
I got to go.
On the other side.
Fire, fury, and frankly, power.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
I'm Matt Flynn, candidate for governor. I'm a former chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. I'm a Navy veteran, and I'm running because we once had clean government, clean water, and high wages in this state. And now we have corrupt government, dirty water, and low wages, all as a result of Scott Walker. Walker is a policy mule for a Republican donor cartel. I'm going to beat him and take him out of office. I ask for your vote on August 14 in the primary, authorized and paid for by Forward with Flynn.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exodus.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Russia probe, the G7 summit. I'm Ann Cates. More charges have been filed against a former top Trump campaign official and a business associate as part of the Russia investigation. Correspondent Evan Perez reports a hearing will be held next week on whether to revoke Paul Manafort's bail for witness tampering.
Prosecutors earlier this week alleged that Paul Manafort was attempting to reach out to witnesses and coach them and perhaps getting them to commit perjury in their testimony to the special counsel. Instead, what we've seen is the special counsel bringing new charges against Paul Manafort.
President Trump and world leaders have gathered at the G7 summit in Quebec as he calls for Russia to be reinstated into the group.
The president was running late for getting here because he stopped to speak with reporters when leaving the White House, dropping this bombshell idea.
And in the G7, which used to be the G8, they threw Russia out. They should let Russia come back in because we should have Russia at the negotiating table.
The president might need a new ally, as angry as the European and Canadian leaders are with him for tariffs and scrapping the Iran nuclear deal. But Democrat Denny Heck, member of the House Intelligence Committee, sees only chaos.
I don't believe the president really does have a strategy other than what is it that I can do to dominate the news cycle for the next 24 hours? What is the most outrageous thing I can say?
Bob Costantini at the G7 meeting, Quebec City.
Chef and TV host Anthony Bourdain has died of an apparent suicide at age 61. Correspondent Brian Stelter.
Anthony's been with us here at CNN for 5 years, a beloved member of the CNN family, and really one of the faces of this network. He helped change CNN when he took a risk coming here in 2013. And along the way, his series, Parts Unknown, has won almost every award possible.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 75 points. The S&P gained 9. The Nasdaq up 10. I'm Ann Cates.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Now that the Caps have clinched the Stanley Cup, it could be trophy time in the NBA tonight.
One more win for the Golden State Warriors would give the team back-to-back championships and 3 in the past 4 seasons, all against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Warriors lead the best-of-7 series 3-0, but guard Steph Curry says it's not over yet.
Game 4 is going to be the toughest game that we've played in the series to close it out, and we're going to need energy, effort, focus from every guy that steps foot on the floor.
Tonight's game in Cleveland could also be the last for LeBron James in a Cavs jersey, as he could become a highly prized free agent in the offseason. If Game 5 is necessary, it would be in Oakland on Monday night. I'm Joe Ramsey.
Bill Murray has been working on a food truck park in South Carolina, and it looks like those plans are becoming reality. The Charles Post and Courier quotes the actor and his 2 partners as saying the Container Bar will begin serving customers this summer. The food truck hub will be at a formal Charleston office building. I'm Ann Cates.
Is my kid in the right car seat? I guess she is.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear-facing, forward-facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
My Congresswoman, Gwen Moore.
I think that you guys are filling a very important space. I think African Americans consume radio at a very high rate, and they really rely on radio for information. And so, word of warning to all those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Milwaukee County Zoo announced yesterday that 2 gorillas who passed away in April died from gastrointestinal infections likely caused by E. coli in the exhibit's water system. One of the gorillas, Cassius, was 31 years old and was the dominant male of a family group at the zoo. That family group is now in a state of disarray after losing their dominant male. And this Sunday is the 42nd annual Locust Street Festival of Music and Art in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood. The festival opens with a beer run or walk at 11:30. There will be entertainment on 6 stages and several food vendors. The Locust Street Festival goes until 8 p.m. Sunday on Locust Street between Humboldt and Holton. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Hour 2 has begun. Thank you, Mahlon Mitchell, a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate. Consider going to see him at the concourse, a little union-like rally Monday about 9 a.m. He seemed much more confident later in the interview, but I didn't see him verify the time. Maybe he did it on his cell phone.
On Monday. Well, if it's a dance-off, man, Mahlon wins.
Yes, he is certainly the most vibrant candidate. I wonder, even amongst the panelists here, who do you think would win? UI or Fancy Brian?
What, dancing?
I could see Brian shaking his groove thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that look.
Yeah, he's got confidence.
He does.
See, the thing that stops me from dancing so much is not really that I don't like to dance or that I can't do it well. It's possible harm to others if my elbow is at most people's eye height.
Don't hurt anybody, Brian.
I thought you were going to say lack of a dance partner.
Boom! Well, again, mostly because of my size 16 feet that may have trampled my dance partner in a previous life. Therefore, I get no dance partners here or there.
I think you have your most recent dance partner in the tread.
Awesome.
Hey,
awesome.
You know who's coming to town? Maybe you'll do a little dancing.
Stormy Daniels?
Well, Stormy's coming to town tomorrow.
Milwaukee tomorrow, Madison tonight.
Donald Trump,
what?
End of the month.
Oh, why?
Raising money, of course. And I understand, a little Foxconn groundbreaking. I understand they're moving the groundbreaking to accommodate, POTUS. Hashtag not my POTUS. This little article, let's just throw this out there, and we'll talk more about the new Mueller indictments. But, because this one affects us, prominent Milwaukee business executive Ted Kellner will host a luncheon fundraiser with President Trump in Milwaukee area on the same day Trump is expected to visit Wisconsin for the careful what you say, Crudy. The Foxconn Technology Group groundbreaking ceremony in Mount Pleasant. The price of admission to the invitation-only event.
Invitation only?
June 29th starts with $2,700 per couple for a lunch reception and goes up to a cool $100,000 per couple at the host giving or fundraising level, according to a copy of an invitation to the event obtained Thursday by the Milwaukee Business Journal. For admission to lunch, a listing on the host board, and a photo opportunity with Trump. That'd be priceless, Tom.
No, it's not. It's only $25,000 a couple.
Oh, what a bargain.
That's such a deal. I got it for you.
At $35,000 for an individual or $50,000 for a couple, contributors get a photo op, a seat at the round table, and a listing on the host board.
Does that come with a bottle of vodka?
I'm not clear. Is Trump going to hit the showers? VIP room style at the top level, Dom, $100,000. A donor gets a photo opportunity, lunch, a listing on the board, and a seat at the round table.
Oh, the seat at the round table.
Is it King Arthur's round table? Because otherwise this seems like it's a little overpriced.
After the luncheon, Trump is expected to head to Mount Pleasant that afternoon for a groundbreaking ceremony at what's called the Wisconsin Valley Science and Technology Park. Wisconsin got conned.
We got Wisconsin.
We did get Wisconsin.
Not us.
As
Scott Walker.
Well, I mean, I'm not clear. Well, listen, I mean, Scott Walker knows exactly what's happening. I have no doubt. And I have no doubt that this really isn't anything to do with creating any number of thousands of jobs. Hell, if you want to create 16,000 jobs, legalize weed in the state of Wisconsin, you'll get all sorts of jobs. But he's not suggesting
and $2 billion
that.
a decade in new net revenue instead of paying a foreign corporation $4.5 billion to build here and maybe employ up to 13,000. But if they're not Wisconsinites, we're screwed anyways. We'll never get the money back.
The groundbreaking ceremony initially was scheduled for June 28th, but an updated invitation from Foxconn U.S. Strategic Initiatives Director Ellen Young says the new date is June 29th. Contractors began site preparation work in Mount Pleasant in May. Trump made the official announcement at the White House in July of 2017 that Foxconn had selected Wisconsin for a complex costing up to $10 billion, where the company could ultimately employ 13,000 people. Wisconsin's economic development leaders credit Trump with initially connecting Foxconn executives with state and local development officials. Proceeds from the luncheon will go to Trump Victory, which is a joint fundraising committee of Donald J. Trump for President, Inc., and the Republican National Committee, according to the invitation. The host, Kellner, declined to comment on the event when contacted Thursday by the Milwaukee Business Journal. He declined to disclose the location.
That's of the fundraiser.
Kellner is the Wisconsin finance chairman for the Republican National Committee and longtime supporter of Governor Scott Walker. He is the founder of Milwaukee investment firm Fiduciary Management, Inc. and Fiduciary Real Estate Development, among other business interests. So you can perhaps maybe the groundbreaking, is the public available to go to that?
Well, here's what I do understand is going to happen on the 29th, Dom. There will be protests.
Oh, you know there will be protests.
There will be massive.
Massive?
Well, we'll see ultimately what happens, but there will be substantial protests happening, especially at the Wisconsin groundbreaking event.
Wisconsin.
I've been getting notices, and initially it was planned for the 28th. The protests precede Trump's announcement that he's coming to town, but, you know, that's sort of the orange icing on the cake, Dom.
Yeah.
So mark it on your calendar. People will get back to you with specific locations. Just keep it tuned to the Devil's Advocates. I'm sure I'll give you an update. But if you got a little time on the 29th of June and you'd like to protest Foxconn and perhaps Scott Walker and Donald Trump for good measure, let's all caravan it down.
Let's do it.
Protest.
Oh, man, it's been a while since we've been doing a good protest.
I'm going to go out there and kneel during the national anthem. I'm going to irritate him a lot. You know who just sent me a tweet, though?
Who's that?
Or more specifically, a text? Donald Trump.
Oh, what'd he say?
Or actually, it's perhaps the Trump family. Well, I've been encouraged to sign President Trump's birthday card. Here's what it says. Birthdays are a huge deal in the Trump family. All caps, huge. That's why I want to include you in this year's birthday festivities for my father-in-law, President Donald J. Trump. Now, that's not Donald J. Trump Jr.'s wife, because she's soon to be the ex-daughter-in-law. I don't think she's gathering the signatures.
See, I'm not up on all the family dynamics. So
Eric's wife.
Oh, okay.
Although it does go, well, maybe it's not. Yeah, Laura Trump. Lara Trump. I read on. Birthdays are a huge deal in the Trump family. That's why I want to include you in this year's birthday festivities for my father-in-law, Donald J. Trump, and his little buddy, Dominic Salvia.
Hey, my birthday too.
The family and I will be sharing this card with him on the evening of his birthday, June 14th. You think Melania will be there? I don't think so. He'll be on the... Will he even be back from the
Come on,
Singapore
Giuliani
summit?
says Melania believes Donald Trump didn't have an affair.
And she made a specific point through a spokesperson to say, I've never talked to Rudolph Giuliani about my thoughts about anything. In other words, no, I don't believe.
But why wouldn't she just say, I don't believe?
Well, that's calling her husband a philandering, lying son of a bitch, and I'm sure that's what she calls him in private. It's sort of her pet name for the man now.
That's the safety word?
I hope you sign our family's card and add a personal message to make his birthday
Yeah, I got a
truly special.
Oh, that's fun. What would your personal message be to President Trump on his birthday? Yes, next Thursday.
That's an excellent inquiry of our audience. Let's play along at 844-967-2789. Maybe 2. We expect 2. And you can text us or call us. Again, I'll say it slow for all the conservatives. 844-967-2789.
844-96-PARTY for all you hip folks out there.
That'd be my liberal friends. So here's the question. What would you like to include as a personal message to Donald Trump? And also perhaps a personal message for his birthday Sharon buddy.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Dominic.
Oh, they're going to throw me in on there too? Oh, come on.
Flag Day and the shared birthday of Dominic and Donald Trump. I mean, perhaps you guys can go up on Mount Rushmore together.
844-96-PARTY. Crudy, in the meantime, while we wait for our audience to join in our exercise.
Wait, I'm gonna push the link. It says, please sign the president's birthday card before 9 p.m. Thank you, Laura Trump.
Oh, we should
I'm
share
gonna
that.
push the little button, and let's see. I suspect I'm being taken to a solicitation site. They don't so much want my signature. Oh, yeah, I can leave my message. No, absolutely. I might share this. Leave a note and sign the card below. Whatever the winning message is, I will share it for you directly back to the president on his solicited birthday card.
It's not the first time the president's been soliciting, huh? Just ask Stormy.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Mr. Not My President. Happy birthday to you. He's a Gemini like us.
Yes, we have our good sides and our bad sides, but I think he just has 2 bad sides. Let's get to it. Washington Post.
I think he ate the twin.
Special Counsel Mueller indicts Paul Manafort, a Russian associate, on obstruction charges. Longtime business associate of former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort.
You mean the coffee boy, Manafort?
Yeah, he wasn't there very long. You know, that guy. Was indicted Friday on charges he conspired to obstruct justice as investigators probed a past secret lobbying scheme on behalf of Ukraine. Konstantin Kilimnik was charged in a superseding indictment filed in U.S. District Court in Washington. The new charges revolve around allegations that he and Manafort tried to influence 2 potential witnesses in a case involving the failure to register as foreign lobbyists. Those accusations are part of a recent effort by the Office of Special Counsel Robert Mueller to revoke or revise Manafort's bail conditions while he awaits trial next month in Northern Virginia. A hearing on the bail issue is scheduled for next week. The indictment also charges Manafort with obstruction and conspiring to obstruct justice.
No collusion, no obstruction.
According to prosecutors, Manafort...
Literally, the charges are collusion with a Russian and obstruction.
According to prosecutors, Manafort, Kilimnik, and others in 2012 put together a lobbying effort with former European politicians referred to informally as the Habsburg Group to advocate on behalf of Ukraine to U.S. and European officials. After Manafort was charged earlier this year with failing to register as a foreign lobbyist, authorities charged that he and Kilimnik attempted to sway the testimony of 2 potential witnesses who had been involved in the work.
Coaching or witness tampering, depending on your preferred vocabulary, Dom.
Kilimnik, who was believed to be in Moscow, did not immediately respond to a message-seeking comment. Manafort hired Kilimnik, who is a Russian national, as a translator in his Kiev office in 2005. It's always the translators that are the spies, right? Kilimnik later took on more responsibility, serving as Manafort's liaison to Oleg Deripaska, a Russian billionaire who paid Manafort to advise him on investments. Kilimnik also became the manager and in-country rep for the Manafort's Ukrainian political consulting business. The two remained close while Manafort was working for the Trump campaign. Kilimnik told the Washington Post they emailed and spoke frequently and that he traveled to the United States to meet twice with Manafort, first in May of 2016, then in August of 2016. Well, there was no meetings with the Russians. In emails, Manafort and Kilimnik appeared to discuss how Manafort could use his role with the campaign to make money. In one note, Manafort asked Kilimnik to offer Deripaska private briefings about the campaign. He said he was never offered the briefings and did not receive them. Kilimnik has told the Post he attended a language university in Moscow before serving as a translator in the Russian army. In court documents, prosecutors have said they've assessed that Kilimnik has ties to Russian intelligence. He has repeatedly denied such ties.
Folks, we're the devil's advocates. Fair rule of thumb. Deny, deny, deny.
Wasn't me.
Come back with us on the other side. Your Friday grievances. Welcome 844-967-2789.
Happy birthday to you.
To me, this is a very, very sexy subject.
Happy birthday.
I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
To you.
Then it came in and out. It came in 3 times.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
The equipment didn't work too well.
Happy birthday.
The American dream is dead.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burleigh Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Excuse me, I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The Western scrub jay,
I was taking my science class on a virtual reality bird-watching expedition. All of a sudden, Charlie Kane shouts, "Arr! Arr!" He had spotted the elusive black swift, a bird rarely seen in the wild. For a brief moment, Charlie had not the eyes of a 9-year-old boy. He had the eyes of an eagle.
Teachers just have better work stories. Find out how creative teaching can be at teachdfw.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
When the truth is found.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
Know the joy within you dies, don't you want somebody?
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's the 420 break. You can join us on the phones, 844-967-2789, if you want to air your Friday grievances. We did get solicited by Donald Trump's daughter-in-law today. Not in the way that Trump would normally do a solicitation, but they're asking us to sign the birthday card and offer a personal message. We've thrown it out to our audience. We got one back on the text line today. Here's one. Happy birthday to you and your genital warts. This is Trump's card, not Dom's, unless applicable. Well, thank you so much. It is not applicable, so we'll leave that one for Trump and his genital warts.
Then what's the Valtrex I see in there on the counter?
844-967-2789.
Hey, Dominic, I don't know if you realize, but suddenly Donald Trump apparently seems almost reasonable on legalized marijuana. President Trump is signaling he is willing to support a move towards the legalization of marijuana, which would be a departure from the position of his midget Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Sessions has been known for his vocal opposition to marijuana legalization, calling it a very real danger during his Senate confirmation hearing and saying, "Good people don't smoke marijuana." Speaking to reporters as he left the White House Friday morning for the G7 summit in Canada, Trump said, "I will probably end up supporting bipartisan legislation that would give states wide latitude over marijuana regulation." Now, that was not Trump's quote. He's never said wide latitude in his life. Asked about the proposal by Republican Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado, Trump said, "I support Senator Gardner. I know exactly what he's doing. We're looking at it, but I will probably end up supporting that. Yes, that would be effectively states' rights for marijuana." Here's my only fear. The co-sponsor on that bill, Pocahontas, Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts. The fact that she is the co-sponsor may end the federal prohibition. Damn it. Trump's always unreliable anyways. Come back with us, 844-967-2789. Your suggestions for Trump's birthday card, welcome here.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
I find it sexy.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Josh Call, the candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Do you think voter ID had a suppressive effect, not on 100 voters, but on thousands of voters and perhaps tipped the election to Donald Trump?
This is an issue that came up at our trial. And first of all, I should thank you guys because we actually introduced into evidence the recording of you interviewing Dale Schultz, who was talking about the passage of the voter ID law. That was one of our pieces of evidence.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
Ah, the bridge is out, and there are scat holes everywhere. Come on. What's wrong with you? Listen to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. It's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Mahlon Mitchell, and I'm a Democrat running for governor. I've been a Wisconsin firefighter for over 20 years, and as firefighters, we respond to our community on the worst days of their lives. We come together and make sure all hands are working to fight for people who need our help. But I don't see that happening in our state. Our schools have been neglected. Crime is a problem. People are working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet and still can't support their families. We need a governor we can trust, someone who looks out for our community. That's why I'm running. But I can't do this alone. I need you to vote. So remember, on August 14th, let's make history, but let's make it count together. Vote Mahlon Mitchell for governor.
Paid for by Mahlon Mitchell for Wisconsin.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The new Milwaukee Bucks arena will include 14 gender-neutral bathrooms, according to Senior Vice President Alex Lasry. In an interview with the Journal Sentinel, Lasry said it is a step to make sure that everyone feels welcome. In addition to the one-toilet gender-neutral bathrooms, the new sports and entertainment facility will include 18 conventional restrooms for men and 22 for women. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies, and then mostly cloudy tonight with a slight chance of rain. We'll have lows in the mid-50s in Milwaukee, upper 50s in Madison. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain, highs in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, upper 70s in Madison. Then for Sunday, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain, highs around 70 degrees in Milwaukee, mid-70s in the Madison area. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. We have been requested on behalf of Laura Trump to gather, a nice little message for Donald's birthday, June 14th. He shares it with Dominic. Now, I have a birthday in the interim, so if you have birthday wishes for yours truly, you can certainly send those to us as well. But most importantly, perhaps the best message for the POTUS, hashtag not my POTUS, I will share with the campaign. Hopefully it makes it to his card. I hope it's personally presented to him at whatever, brothel or den he's at in Singapore. 844-967-2789. Call or text your recommended message for Donald Trump's birthday card. Mark from the Sac, you will be next. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hello. I guess I'm sorry you can't have Ivanka for your birthday.
That's a pretty good one, Mark.
That was kind of a...
I'm not clear that in Singapore that's not okay.
Mark, I don't know. I think you follow us on Facebook. Each and every day, I've made it a new habit. I'd like to freshen it up. I post a new Facebook, cover video for the Devil's Advocates. Been doing it for a week or so. And today, in honor of Stormy, sort of a poor man's Ivanka, I put up a side-by-side picture earlier in the day of Stormy Daniels and Ivanka Trump. And I'm not saying she's the spitting image but in college, one could have used the other's fake ID.
I'm pretty sure she was strikingly similar back about the time Donald Trump had her, I think. That and that's a little disturbing. That it's just I don't know. I mean that his whole comment about that if she wasn't his daughter, he'd be dating her or something like that.
Mark, I know the word you're searching for. It's ooh. Ooh.
Ew.
It's ugh. I mean, it just is. There's another important anniversary we're coming up on is the collapse of the O'Donnell Garage on June 24th that killed that kid. And I know I've talked about that one before, but when Jared Kellner got killed when that garage fell on him, that
here in
Scott Walker
Milwaukee,
didn't make sure it was safe. Yeah,
kid on his way to Summerfest, and the facade fell off this parking garage and killed this poor kid. And what was Scott Walker's first concern about that, Mark?
County Executive Walker at the time.
I think before the kid's body was even removed from underneath the concrete, the day that it happened, his staff was moving in heaven and earth to make sure that the information about the problems with that garage didn't get out. I mean, I think there's some people that went to jail over the activities there, but that was one of the activities is that I think that Cynthia Archer got a job out of it, with the state. I mean, but she was heavily involved in making sure that everything got screened before it got out to the public on that problem. I guess that still kind of bugs me a little bit.
I think it should bug anybody with a conscience, Mark. I mean, how can that be your first reaction, a political concern versus the concern of the life of an innocent citizen, one of your constituents, and his family?
It was campaign season, boys.
Oh, what was I thinking?
That was just thoroughness on Scott Walker's behalf.
Yeah, well, if it would have been my kid, he would never have seen the back of my head because I'd be in his face every day. But onto a little bit gladder things. Did you get permission to go to see Stormy tonight?
I'm not clear.
She didn't say no, Mark.
I have no intent or plans at this moment, as far as you're concerned, to go see Stormy tonight. I think I'm going to save the cost of admission and just look her up on the interwebs.
That sounds like a plan.
I'll read Jesse Apoyan's fine reporting tomorrow.
What about you, Mark? You going to go check it out? I mean, is this part of our civic duty now? Go to the strip club?
I'm tempted just to support the cause. And if Crute was going to be there, I think I'd probably take a drive down from the SAC here. But that I might just stay at home tonight and send her good wishes.
All right, Mark. Thank you for the call. As always, happy Friday. 844-967-2789. Mark says his birthday wishes to Donald Trump. Sorry, you can't have Ivanka on your birthday.
I feel
my daughter Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
Yeah, she's hot.
I feel pretty comfortable in saying that Mark will be motorboating sometime tonight.
Jeez. Yeah, I got it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that visual.
844-967-2789. Your birthday wishes for Donald Trump would be appreciated. The Trump campaign, Laura Trump, the only remaining daughter-in-law, if I do the math correctly, has requested that we, the loyal Trump supporters, send a message. Sign the card, if you will. And text works at 844-967-2789.
Here's a text, Crudy.
Oh, sure. Share it with the people.
Greetings, Mr. Not My President. Better you had not been born. Love.
Is that like delete your account?
Wish you were never born. Are there no well-wishers for the president? None.
Do you think perhaps in a few generations they'll be talking about getting in a time machine and going back and taking out baby Trump?
Oh, man, Jeb Bush, he'd have killed that baby.
Hell yeah! Kill baby Hitler? Didn't he say that? Wasn't he fighting his own battle, rhetorically speaking, to try and show his toughness? Because he seemingly came off as soft in comparison.
That was what during
to
the
Donald
last
Trump.
Was that during the last
2016
presidential campaign?
Yeah.
That's when he said he'd go back in time, and if he could, he'd kill baby Hitler.
Hell yeah, would.
Hell yeah, tough guy. Wouldn't you maybe nurture him, raise him differently, maybe show love and compassion, and try to steer him in a different direction?
Couldn't that be said to Fred Trump as well?
Perhaps Fred Trump himself needed some of that love and guidance.
I said, if you could go back in time and kill baby Hitler, would you? I need to know.
And
Hell yeah, I would.
even if he was really cute.
No, look, you gotta step up. Man.
Step up.
Key.
What? Jeb Bush, what the hell?
So my question, you know, as history looks back upon this age of time, assuming humanity survives.
I was going to say, assuming we have a history to, someone's around to look back.
Do you think some reporters in a theoretical future campaign, somewhere else, some stronger nation than America eventually will be, let's call it a Chinese election, do you think they will ask one of the candidates, would you go back in time and take out baby Trump?
In a Chinese election? Hell no, they wouldn't. Absolutely not. They love themselves some Trump. Man, Ivanka's got a bunch of patents now. ZTE's going to be up and running again. No. We love Trump.
Why is it, back to serious politics for just a moment, Tom?
Seriously?
Why is it that Trump is out insulting the G7 allies and complaining, bemoaning the fact that Russia is no longer amongst them? I mean, even John McCain from his deathbed today is saying, Trump, you're undermining the American spirit. You're undermining America when you attack our
allies. The American dream is dead.
And suggest that the Russians should be again part of the G8 because, of course, the Russians lost the right to be part of the G8 when, let's just say, they annexed Crimea, which is a somewhat Hitler-like act in and of itself.
Crimea, which was part of
Russia now.
What was part of the Ukraine. See how it all goes back to that one little country. Remember Manafort there is getting paid. Manafort's now former employee charged in the Mueller investigation also worked at his Ukrainian office. It's all about the Ukraine, man. You know what? Let's take an early break here. Crudy, you asked us. One of our listeners emailed this particular Talking Points memo article to us, and I think it kind of gets to
the Josh Marshall piece you referencing.
I'm not clear who. Yes, the Josh Marshall piece. Yes, I think we should go there because it's not very long, and I think it gives some perspective on what's going on. Of course, we like to have fun and screw around. Hell, it's Friday. It gets a little tiring kind of beating this drum all the time with Donald Trump, but we got to have some humor. If we don't laugh, we're going to cry.
Is that what you call it now, beating the drum?
But I think this Talking Points memo article articulates at least some of my grievances. You can join us as well on the phones, 844-967-2789. We are the Devil's Advocates. This is Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
On the first place, I know some man go walking, take my place. Ain't nowhere in the world I'm going out that front door.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
I think that's a very big topic, and it's a topic that should be number one, and we should find out what the hell is going on.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
What are you waiting for? It's time to join the union. I'm Andy Buck, field representative with the Painters and Allied Trades District Council 7 of Wisconsin. You're already doing the work. You deserve to make a fair wage. You work hard, but your body isn't going to last forever. Cash feels great in your hand, but having health insurance, a safe workplace, and a secure retirement gives you peace of mind. Join the union and make your job your career. Look us up online, Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. If you're a painter, glazer, drywall finisher, start getting paid like it. Join the union.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates. Sausage making never looks so good.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Also streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Hit us up on Twitter at Devil Radio and the party line. Talk or text 844-967-2789.
It's Friday. We air grievances, and I got a lot of problems with you people. And as the Josh Marshall headlines at the TPM Talking Points memo says, what's he telling me?
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
Or as the headline of the Josh Marshall piece says, we've got a problem. A big problem. And I hope he's not talking about my waistline, but I read. There are certain frameworks and situations in the law which does not matter why something happens. It simply matters that something has demonstrably happened to establish the point, making the finding or act. I have thought for some time that we face a similar situation with a man who currently holds the U.S. presidency. Over the course of 16 plus months, President Trump has acted consistently and with some success to destabilize and break up the Western alliance, both its formal manifestation in NATO, but also its less formal dimensions in trade and other partnerships. He has also worked consistently on really every front to advance advance the interests of Russia. less obviously to many Americans, he's been doing something similar in East Asia. The U.S. alliance with Japan and South Korea, which in recent years we've taken steps to extend to other states on the periphery of the East Asian landmass, which is basically to say China, is not simply to protect against North Korea. It is to build a series of security relationships with countries on that periphery to act as a counterweight to the regional, perhaps world great power, China. Allies in the region are closely watching President Trump's apparent desire to remove U.S. troops from South Korea for that reason, among others. The last 24 hours of attacks on our closest allies, capped by President Trump's seemingly out-of-the-blue demand to bring Russia back into the G7, making it again the G8, which it was for most of the post-Cold War era until Russia was expelled over the annexation of Crimea, simply brings the matter into a newly sharp relief. If candidate Trump and President Putin had made a corrupt bargain which obligated President Trump to destabilize all U.S. security and trade alliances, especially NATO, which has been Russia's primary strategic goal for 70 years, and advance the strategic interest of Russia, there's really nothing more remotely realistic he could have done to accomplish that than what he has, in fact, done, Dominic.
Take a moment to let that sink in. I need to take a moment to let that sink in. It's shocking to me. It's shocking to me what's happening. Now, I said above, remotely realistic. A critic of what I wrote above might note that Trump could, in fact, have taken steps to abrogate the NATO treaty commitments. He might have said publicly that the U.S. would not aid the Baltic states or Poland against a Russian invasion. We can also note that he has approved a very limited sale of weaponry in Ukraine, which is, of course, still battling Russian proxy forces in the eastern part of the country. But the things he could have done but has not done really, to me, fall into the category of things that are unnecessary and probably still beyond what the president could remotely get away with. Sanctions are an instructive example. The administration did finally impose a limited version of the sanctions Congress authorized early in Trump's presidency. But on every sanctions front, it has been always, absolutely as little as possible and always kicking and screaming. He has also been surrounded by people like H.R. McMaster and many others of a similar outlook, who clearly aren't friendly to the strategic interests of Russia. So Trump has been operating to a degree within the constraints of U.S. public opinion and the heavy remonstrations of his top advisors. And yet, at every opportunity, he did everything he could, realistically, to advance that agenda. Back to the main point. We have a president who has clearly got a great deal of assistance from Russia in getting elected. We can argue about how important it was to his victory, but the reality of the help is not in any real dispute. His campaign, at a minimum, had numerous highly suspicious contacts with people either in the Russian government or acting on behalf of the Russian government while that was happening. That is a very generous interpretation. He's doing all the stuff he'd have been asked to do if such a corrupt bargain had been made. At a certain point, and I'd say we're clearly at or past that point, it really doesn't matter whether we can prove such a bargain was made. I'm not even sure it matters whether it was explicit or even happened. The bank robber helped the teller get a job, and now the teller just won't seem to lock the safe or even turn on the alarm. We can debate forever whether the teller is just absent-minded or has some odd philosophical aversion towards locks. The debate may be unresolvable. It truly doesn't matter. Talking Points memo, John Marshall. Thank you to our listener, Lynn. Josh Marshall. Thank you, Lynn, for bringing that to our attention.
So, if I understand what Josh Marshall is asserting, Donald Trump really couldn't, without public outrage, and of course there's been plenty of public outrage, but he, with very modest caveats, could not have done possibly more to destabilize our alliances on behalf of Putin and Russia than he has already done. It's almost as if the man is acting as a foreign agent, Dom.
I think it's a great piece, and I love the bank teller analogy. Yes, it makes perfect sense. What could he have done? I'd like to spin it around. What could have been done? What else could he have done to assist Russia than to so discontent with our allies, so discontent with our trade agreements.
And the Iran deal, which obviously helps to push up the price of petroleum, which is the major export and a third of the gross domestic product of Russia. Well, I would say that was also for Putin's benefit.
What else could he have done? I mean, for real. This is a legitimate question. If he was on Putin's payroll, what else would you want? If I'm Putin and I'm paying Trump, I think he's performing exactly as I would expect him to perform. You got to keep him in power, so you can't push too hard, right, on the Russian issues when you have McMaster and you have public opinion, you have other people that may disagree heartedly with what I'm doing. So you got to play ball a little bit. But then, you just stick it to everyone around you. But you divide and conquer the country. I mean, think about this for a minute. Think about all the racial strife we have going on. I would say specifically pushed, obviously, by the Russians. If you believe the reporting, which I do, the Russians were here in Milwaukee putting out that kind of stuff.
At least the strife they hope to create around the Sherman Parks incidents, that was certainly targeted at Milwaukee.
Yes, and Donald Trump has continued that with his activities. So Donald Trump gets an A+ as far as I'm concerned for helping Russia as much as he possibly could without being dragged out from the White House and hung for treason.
Here's my question. It cannot simply be to hide the PP tape. I mean, it's basically publicly known he's paid off a couple porn stars for their silence, or a porn star, a playmate, perhaps another playmate for an abortion. So, if it's simply about some sort of sexual picadillo, well, Donald Trump's got plenty of those.
And he's got no shame about that anyway.
Very little.
He has no
bragged
problem,
about it.
Yeah, there's no problem denying it if it comes up again.
So if that is not the point of leverage, if that's not the compromising information, well, of course, then it's got to be money laundering. It's got to be some prior financial entanglement that Donald Trump has. Let's call it money laundering for Russian oligarchs. Well, it's a lot easier to follow the money down. The money has trails. I'll tell you what, come back with us. I'll explain it all to you on the other side. I'm Crudy, that's Dom, that's Colludin' Brian. 844-967-2789. Your grievances welcome here.
Wouldn't it be nice if we actually got along, as an example, with Russia? I'm all for it. Russia, if you're listening,
the President of the United States has your back.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009, or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad!
Oh, come on! This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
American soldier killed. Russia reinstatement. I'm Barbara Cusack. A U.S. Special Forces soldier was killed, 4 other American soldiers wounded during a firefight in Somalia. Correspondent Barbara Starr says the American forces were operating alongside Somali troops when they came under attack by suspected al-Shabaab militants.
They were working with Somali forces on an operation that was not supposed to be combat, but they came under attack from small arms and mortars. This is going to raise questions again about U.S. troops in remote areas of Africa, how prepared they are for what they may face there for the prospect of coming under attack by insurgents.
President Trump called for the reinstatement of Russia in the G7 ahead of the leading industrialized nations summit in Canada. Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger uttered several reasons why not.
They have an illegal war in eastern Ukraine that's still ongoing despite really a lack of coverage. There are 50,000 dead children in Syria, 500,000 Syrians that are dead, and many millions displaced because Vladimir Putin backs a very evil dictator.
Former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort faces additional charges in the special counsel's Russia investigation. Correspondent Sarah Murray says Manafort associate Konstantin Kilimnik has also been accused of obstruction of justice.
He's 48 years old. He lives in Moscow. He worked with Paul Manafort, including on these efforts to do lobbying work for Ukrainian politicians, things that got Paul Manafort in the hot seat. But the other reason that Mueller's team is so interested in him is they say that he has ties to Russian intelligence.
The apparent suicides of celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain and fashion designer Kate Spade this week have led to an uptick in calls to suicide prevention hotlines. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline saw a 25% increase in volume. A call to 1-800-273-8255 may help save a life. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies!
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
The Capitol's Victory Parade is set for Tuesday in Washington, D.C., starting at 11 in the morning. The NHL team brought home Washington's first major sports title since 1992 as they won the Stanley Cup with last night's victory over the Vegas Golden Knights. Final preparations are being made as Justify's trainer Bob Baffert says the Colt turned in another strong training session ahead of tomorrow's Belmont Stakes, the third leg in the Triple Crown bid.
The Colt goes into Saturday's race the 4-5 odds-on favorite to win.
And I think he's been winning because he's so talented. He's that good of a horse.
If Justify wins the Belmont Stakes, Baffert will go down in history as having trained the most winners of the races that make up the Triple Crown. Steve Kastenbaum, New York.
Golden State is on the cusp of another NBA championship, holding a 3-0 series lead over the Cleveland Cavaliers going into Game 4 of the finals tonight. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Juice, Mom. Juice, juice, juice. Mommy, why are we going to the store? Mom,
I want
juice. Mom,
Juice.
Mom.
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I got to tell you, so when I first moved to Green Bay to play football in 92, I had never been to Wisconsin. But the funniest thing I thought, you could not buy hamburger patties without a dollop of butter on them.
Folks, just so you know, if you take a little bit of herb butter and put it in the middle of a patty and just kind of mold it around there, you get magic.
I have one of my arteries right now.
How much did you say you weighed?
I'm gaining weight with my thoughts right now.
You're $3 and some change already, brother.
Guns, Butter, Economics, 414 Wisconsin, weekdays, 2 to 3 p.m. on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Milwaukee police officer Charles Irvine Jr. was killed yesterday when the squad car he was in crashed while in pursuit of a reckless driver. Another officer was injured in the accident and is listed in stable condition at the hospital. Irvine was 23 years old and a 4-year veteran of the force. It is the first time in 22 years that a Milwaukee police officer was killed in the line of duty. And this weekend is Pride Fest in Milwaukee at the Summerfest grounds. Among the headliners this year are the B-52s. Fest goers will be able to get into Pride Fest for just a $1 donation today from 2:30 until 4:30. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies, and then mostly cloudy tonight with a slight chance of rain. We'll have lows in the mid-50s in Milwaukee, upper 50s in Madison. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we're sliding into the Friday happy hour, man.
Are you sure?
You've been waiting all week for this.
I know it's been a long week. Getting away with my lovely fur the weekend, I can't wait.
I'm not going anywhere with you.
Like I said.
Dom, little story at the Raw Story, one of my favorite sources.
I know this is.
This headline, and I'll draw the relevance back to Wisconsin in just a moment.
All right.
Lawyer involved in Russia NRA connection tied to campaigns of Tennessee Senate hopeful Blackburn. That's Marsha Blackburn. We first saw her in person at the Iowa Freedom Summit.
Oh, yeah.
And what were we doing there that day? We were chasing Scott Walker because he, of course, a presidential frontrunner. I know it sounds so strange
he
to
was
say
the
it aloud.
darling of the Freedom Summit.
Well, but Donald Trump, who you met that day, and I saw him on the stage, but you shook his hand.
He shook my hand.
You guys swapped spit. Donald Trump also had that, room full of evangelical Iowa conservatives, all aflutter, bragging about his net worth and promising he might also run for president this time.
Just teasing us at the time.
Well, I took him seriously. Some did not in the room, but ultimately, it's all of our downfall.
Here we are now.
So anyways, back to the Raw Story. Over the past few months, reports have started digging into ties between Russia and the NRA. Well, we've heard some tell Dom that the Russians were using the NRA as a funnel, a spigot, to fund the Donald Trump campaign, right?
Yes.
Digging into the ties between Russia and the NRA, which go back about a decade and appear to be closer than previously understood. Now the Tennessean has identified a man who appears to be a key link between Putin's regime, the NRA, and Marsha Blackburn, an ultra-conservative U.S. rep running for Senate in Tennessee. The man's name is Clyde Preston, and he also works as a lawyer in a Tony Nashville suburb. He has also been an election observer for Russia, dispatched to polling stations to claim Putin's elections aren't rigged, and introduced the NRA's president to the top Russian money launderer who was formerly in the Russian parliament. He also has close ties to U.S. Rep. Marsha Blackburn, who is running for Senate and recently got support from Trump in the form of a rally. He is her former finance chair, talking about the Russian lawyer, and worked as a lawyer for Blackburn as she battled charges of campaign finance violations. What, money laundering of some sort?
Maybe.
His wife also worked for her campaign in a paid position. Preston, like President Trump, insists that the investigation into how Russia interfered
witch hunt
in the 2016 campaign is a witch hunt.
Yeah.
Preston speaks Russian and in his now protected Twitter account often posted about Trump, Russia, and Confederate causes associated with white nationalism.
Of course.
So he is a Russian Nazi, Dom. Final thought. Following Trump's win, he tweeted this in Russian: Donald Trump has won, and now the relationship between Russia and America will be great! ! Goodbye, witch Hillary. Now, this is the attorney from Nashville, Preston, the Russian who's on Marsha Blackburn's team. And what is my habit, Tom? Whenever I see any new name introduced, be it any new name,
you always do a Google search or an internet search with that name and Governor Scott Walker
of the state of Wisconsin. And you know what? Plenty of topics come up. This is the first article I saw. I'm going to quote this Mother Jones article. We've seen this one before. But I'm going to read one particular passage from April of 2015. Now, the Iowa Freedom Summit was in January of 2015. And I would remind any conservative that actually paid attention, Paul Singer, the owner of the Washington Free Beacon, was a substantial Scott Walker donor, especially during the recall when there was no cap on the campaign finance dollars. And he was also the guy before Hillary's campaign paid Fusion GPS. It was this guy. It was Paul Singer. It was the Scott Walker donor who funded the Fusion GPS, you know, the Christopher Steele dossier, you know, the PP tape.
Yes.
Anyways, back to Scott Walker. He was, you know, top of the heap. He was ahead in most of the polls until Donald Trump came in and stole all his thunder. Scott Walker thought he had a chance. He was burning $90,000 a day setting up big-ass campaign stops in Iowa.
In diners.
So, as Mother Jones reports, April 2015, again, the conversation, the link between the NRA, the Russians, and American politicians, in this case, Governor Scott Walker of the state of Wisconsin. You remember Bettina, the lifetime member of the Right to Bear Arms organization, Dom?
Was that the female one?
That's the female one.
Yeah,
Her and Torsion.
Yes.
Bettina posted about 200 pictures from Nashville.
Yep, I remember.
Including one with Republican Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin. Again, this is April of 2015. Who she says greeted her in Russian.
I didn't know Scott Walker could speak Russian.
And why would he have just a Russian greeting readily at his avail?
Well, we know Scott Walker
at an
doesn't
NRA
do anything.
meeting in Nashville.
You can say what you want about Scott Walker, but he preps for the politics. He knew he was meeting her. He deliberately, if he didn't know Russian from his days at Marquette, he learned some Russian in order to impress this person.
Before he dropped out of Marquette University with in good standing at a 2.64 GPA, I have not seen any records to indicate that he took any Russian while studying at that fine university, besmirched only by the fact that Scott Walker and Scott Kuchka both attended.
You're welcome, Kuchka.
Back to April of 2015. She posts a picture of her and Scott Walker of Wisconsin, who she says greeted her in Russian. She notes he's one of the future nominees for the post of U.S. president, and ponders the beginning of a new dialogue between Russia and the U.S. Donald Trump also attends, telling the crowd, "I promise you one thing, if I run for president and if I win, the Second Amendment will be totally protected. That I can tell you." Torshin, also present, later tells Bloomberg that he had a jovial exchange with the future president. So anyways, I had looked up this attorney, this Russian attorney, now working for Marsha Blackburn, or apparently he has been an ongoing attorney for Marsha Blackburn. And his name was being reported way back to this story, Dom, which also examined this odd relationship between the Russian NRA, the right to bear, B-E-A-R, for the Russian bear, arms. Only they don't have a Second Amendment. And when you have a dictatorial totalitarian leader at the top, Dom, you don't necessarily want a well-armed populace. So anyways, the common link, the missing link, it's this Nashville attorney. And Scott Walker, well, he, fell on the side of the road of history, wasn't successful in his run, but he showed himself more than willing to collude with a foreign power in his own right. He had a funder that was, in fact, investigating Donald Trump, having the Steele dossier created probably for the benefit of Scott Walker's candidacy. Paul Singer didn't jump over to Marco Rubio until October of 2015. Scott Walker dropped out September 21st of 2015, if memory serves, Dom.
I also want to remind the folks, here's a political article from April 11th, just, 8 weeks ago. The NRA reported this week that it received more money from people with Russian ties than previously acknowledged, but announced it was officially done cooperating with a congressional inquiry exploring whether illicit Kremlin-linked funding passed through the NRA into Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign, Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat from Oregon, said on Wednesday. Again, this is from April 11th of this year. Wyden released a letter from the NRA dated Tuesday in which the gun rights group reported receiving $2,500 in contributions and membership dues from people associated with Russian addresses or known Russian nationals living in the United States from 2015 to present. In the past, congressional aide to Wyden said the group confirmed receiving only one financial contribution in the form of a lifetime membership purchased by Alexander Torshin, a Russian banker. Now, it's Crudy, as you mentioned, McClatchy reported in January that the FBI was investigating whether Torshin, a deputy governor of Russian central bank deputy governor, sent money to the NRA in an effort to secretly boost Trump's presidential campaign. Campaign records show that the NRA was Trump's biggest supporter, spending about $30 million on him during the campaign, a much larger amount that it has spent on previous presidential candidates. And let's fast forward to just 3 short days ago from the Hill. Putin quoted, "Indeed, Donald Trump and I have firstly met more than once at various international venues, and secondly, we regularly talk on the phone." Putin said, according to official transcript from the Kremlin released online, Putin was responding to a question about special counsel Robert Mueller's indictment of 13 Russian nationals and 3 Russian organizations in February.
The Russian attorney that currently resides in Nashville, Klein Preston, he again is part of Marsha Blackburn's campaign team. She's running for the U.S. Senate.
Like currently running, like right
now,
for this election cycle.
And both Klein Preston and his wife are apparently paid staffers on the senatorial campaign. Russians working on behalf. This is a Russian election observer. What, Scott Walker couldn't get the Russian for his own campaign team?
I thought you couldn't be are they American citizens?
That I'm not clear.
I think you have to be. I don't think you can be on a campaign. I don't.
What makes you think that? I would just look at the example of many of those that advised Donald Trump's campaign, and Cambridge Analytica that did his targeted media, right? Well, that was a British firm. Might have been owned by the Mercers, but it operated under a charter in Great Britain, Dom. Now, that might have been illegal campaigning. Hell, for all we know, Marsha Blackburn's illegally campaigning. We sure as hell know Scott Walker has no qualms illegally campaigning. Go see the John Doe 2. But Scott Walker, he was right in the middle of all this. This Russian collusion stuff, Dom. He's just sad that he didn't have an opportunity to collude with the Russians.
I think someone
he certainly would have done so. He's demonstrated he has no personal character. It's all about winning, baby.
Has anybody in the Wisconsin media ever followed up with Scott Walker and asked him what did he say in Russian to this person and why he addressed her in Russian and where did he learn Russian?
It's one of those where
going forward, it's time that we take on different discussions because, we don't want to live in the past.
Folks, we're the devil's advocates. We live in the tomorrow. Got one foot in tomorrow at least. Save $2 on the paper. Just listen to us every day, 3 hours. Monday through Friday. That's all we ask. It's not a lot. And you can join us on the phone as well. 844-967-2789. And oh, yes, please also support our fine sponsors.
Это shoe advocado diavolo.
Having a great time.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
What are you waiting for? It's time to join the union. I'm Andy Buck, field representative with the Painters and Allied Trades District Council 7 of Wisconsin. You're already doing the work. You deserve to make a fair wage. You work hard, but your body isn't going to last forever. Cash feels great in your hand, but having health insurance, a safe workplace, and a secure retirement gives you peace of mind. Join the union and make your job your career. Look us up online, Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. If you're a painter, glazer, drywall finisher, start getting paid like it. Join the union.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster.
And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and he puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy.
Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using
failed
facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. We are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It's Friday. You can hear your grievances here, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, you were doing a little Google research on this whole topic. Russians involved with the NRA, and the NRA trying to involve themselves with the Scott Walker for presidential campaign. You know, the campaign in waiting. He was running for president. He just didn't declare until like July. Signed the budget. I was at that event. I did not go to his presidential campaign launch, but Butina, the Russian girl, did, Dom.
Rolling Stone also mentions Scott Walker here in their piece.
Does Rolling Stone link Scott Walker with Butina, the one he greeted in Russia? In Russian at the NRA conference in Nashville?
Russians also rubbed elbow with Scott Walker, then a viable candidate and the beneficiary of more than $3.5 million from the NRA over his career. Walker charmed Butina when they first met. She blogged, greeting her in Russia. We talked about Russia, she wrote. I did not hear any aggression towards our country, the president, or my compatriots. 2 months later, Butina traveled to Waukesha, Wisconsin to attend Walker's official presidential launch.
Well, of course she did. I mean, if anyone has shown that they would be more than willing to sell their soul to, you know, the Koch brothers or a foreign national, I mean, Scott Walker was the corrupt one before Donald Trump got in the race. Scott Walker's been corrupt for years. Donald Trump newly corrupted by this political cycle, Dom. You know, he was just private practice corrupt up until now.
Let's see. Preston, again from the Rolling Stone.
Klein Preston
is a jovial Russophile. He studied abroad in Soviet Leningrad in the late 80s on his way to an undergraduate degree in Russian language and literature.
I'm sure he's not a double agent or anything, Dom.
He has moonlighted as a vodka importer and trader on the post-Soviet stock exchange. In 2006, Preston
he's a Russian day trader?
Opened a sister law office in St. Petersburg where his practice included, quote, lobbying members of government bodies in the United States and the Russian Federation, unquote. Torshin met Preston through mutual Russian contacts, and he invited the lawyer to speak at the Russian Senate in 2009. I'm very pro-Putin, honestly, Preston said in a rich southern drawl. He's been fantastic for Russia. Rolling Stone. Let's see, what is the date of this particular piece? Inside the decades-long Russian campaign to infiltrate the NRA and help elect Trump. Let's see, Rolling Stone. I'll see a date on here. This is April 2nd of 2018.
GOP, Grand Old Putin Party.
What the hell, man? Come on, man. Guy's importing Russian vodka, and he's lobbying on behalf of Russia? Is that what I read? What? And this guy's on Blackburn's staff and met Walker through Torshin? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not clear if I made that statement, but some of the reporting we've read would seem to imply that the Russian day trader / double agent,
vodka importer,
perhaps white slavist, you know, perhaps he's supplied Melania to the Donald. Maybe that's the connection then. You know, you can't get those Russian brides without good connections. Come back with us. I guess she's Slovakian.
Whatever.
Soon to be single, I hear. Rumor has it. More devils on the other side.
Danny, this isn't Russia. Is this Russia? This isn't Russia, is it?
No. 180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak.
I'd walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Here's how you get them. If someone invites you for a cocktail, you bring them beer. If someone invites you to dinner, you bring a casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. A good friend of ours, a fine sponsor. He's Lenny Mattioli's Crazy E-Bike Lenny, and he's always selling e-bikes. Lenny, welcome back to the show, man. I got to tell you, I've been missing your ads on the radio. What happened, Len?
Any potential advertisers that were considering using Devil's Advocate, listen to this. We ran an ad 10 days. We sold every one. Every single one.
The Devil's Advocates.
Merchandising! Merchandising! Every single one.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Next Tuesday is Election Day in Wisconsin. Voters in the state's 1st Senate District and in the 42nd Assembly District will be going to the polls in a special election that Scott Walker tried to postpone. In the 1st Senate District, Democrat Caleb Frostman is facing Republican Andre Jacques. In the 42nd Assembly District, Democrat Ann Groves Lloyd will face Republican John Plummer and Independent Gene Rubenstein. And the Brewers were off yesterday. They start a 3-game series against the Phillies tonight in Philadelphia. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny skies, and then mostly cloudy tonight with a slight chance of rain. We'll have lows in the mid-50s in Milwaukee, upper 50s in Madison. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain. Highs in the upper 60s in Milwaukee, upper 70s in Madison.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Friday Happy Hour. It continues right here on Brady. Cheers to everybody. Smoke them if you got them. Drink them if you got them. Everybody needs a little relaxation on a Friday afternoon.
Especially these days, man.
Yes.
Are you a Russian?
Not as far as you know.
Fancy Brian? Are you a Russian agent?
Это же адвокат of Diavola.
That's a no.
What the hell is that? I've heard that play out. What?
Listen to the Devil's Advocate show.
I'm not sure that our Russian fans, other than Scott Walker's, friends over at the NRA. I don't know that anyone knows what that is.
I have.
Och den har jag tansivat.
See, I have no problems with Russians. It's the Russian governmental agency or employees and agents infiltrating and influencing our elected officials. I take a little umbrage with.
You know what Russian sounds a lot like? Republican. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
And they're both red, right? The Russians and Republicans, red is their color, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's blow your mind, man.
Turning back to the state of Wisconsin, Bill Glauber, Journal Sentinel Online. There is a new study that has been released in 2016. Wisconsin's job market improved, but the state's poverty rate increased. Or as I like to say, thank you, Governor Walker. Despite a robust jobs market, Wisconsin's poverty rate increased to 10.8% in 2016 compared to 9.7% in 15. It went up a full percent, more than 1% in a year, according to a report released Friday by researchers at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. The 10th Wisconsin Poverty Report details what is called the Wisconsin Poverty Measure that is produced by the Institute for Research on Poverty. The report was authored by Timothy Smeeting and Catherine Thornton. Unlike the federal government's official poverty measure, which is based on pre-tax cash income, the WPM accounts for such things as non-cash government benefits and refundable tax credits. Here's a quote, Tom. This year, we learned that the state's economic expansion is leaving some, I'd say most, low-income families behind, which is concerning, says Lawrence Berger, director of the Institute for Poverty. At the same time, the much lower BPM child poverty rate compared to the official rate emphasizes the important ongoing role of social welfare programs, indicating that tax credits and food share are providing crucial resources for families who would otherwise be poor. The official poverty rate in the state was 11.8% in 2016, according to the U.S. Census Bureau American Community Survey. Under the Wisconsin poverty measure, 26 of the state's 72 counties had poverty rates below the 10.8% state average, while Milwaukee County's rate was 17.5%.
Wow.
Under the measure, child poverty increased by 2 percentage points to 12%, which was far below the official rate of 16.9%. Elderly poverty rose from 7.8% in 2015 to 9% in 2016 under the measure, which was above the official rate of 6.6%. Yeah, I'd say 9 is higher than 6. Elders also moving into poverty under Scott Walker. The Wisconsin poverty measure is higher because it includes out-of-pocket medical costs. The report noted, while benefits from the safety net played a large role in poverty reduction, changes in the state's food share program reduced these positive effects in 2016 compared to other years. In other words, Scott Walker making it harder to get food share, to feed the kids of the state of Wisconsin. We're seeing kids slide into poverty. We're seeing elders slide into poverty, Dom.
Other trends that decrease resources over the past 2 years include rising child care and other work-related expenses for families with children and increasing medical out-of-pocket expenses, especially for the elderly, the report said. Because we believe that the long-term solution to poverty for the able-bodied non-elderly is a secure job that pays well, not an indefinite income support program. These findings are discouraging. The Wisconsin Poverty Measure, produced by the Institute for Research on Poverty.
I thought we were in a fairly strong economy, right? That's what you hear.
But depends on how you gauge
Record
it, right?
low unemployment rate. That's what Scott Walker's bragging about all the time. 2.8%, lowest it's ever been. But the poverty rate is spiking at the very same time. It's almost as if the working stiff's wage in the state of Wisconsin has been undermined somehow. Well, could that have been Act 10? or right to work, or the fact that Scott Walker at his sole discretion had the ability to make the state's minimum wage a living wage. That's the way the law used to read. And instead of raising the minimum wage in the state of Wisconsin to a livable wage, something where, let's say, you could afford food, maybe shelter, Scott Walker instead opted to change the law and keep the $7.25 an hour minimum wage.
And every single year that doesn't change, it essentially means someone working on a minimum wage scale at $7.25. If you have a 3% increase in inflation every year, well, they're getting a 3% reduction in the value of those dollars.
At $7.25 an hour, man, you're lucky if you can afford gas to get to and from work or a bus token. I mean, it's ridiculously low. The minimum wage, and granted, there aren't a ton of people working at the minimum wage, but the minimum wage sets the baseline wage. You know, if it's $7.25 an hour and you pay $8,
you're above minimum wage.
But the people are probably still on food share. Unless Scott Walker has pushed them off, made them pee in a cup, or found some other rationale or reason to push them from the program. 2.8% unemployment. I think that's fictitious, and I'm not trying to play the Donald Trump 42% unemployment. Could be 30, 38, 42.
No, right. I get
until he's the president, and of course. Then he's bragging about the 4% national. And Scott Walker, of course, bragging about a 2.8% here in the state of Wisconsin. But what they fail to clarify or ever mention is the reduction in the unemployment rate is simply a reflection of those currently seeking work or currently employed. And if you have fallen off your ability to claim, you know, some sort of social safety net, well, you don't meet the criterion. You are set aside. And I would say when you're working 2 jobs, when you're working 3 jobs, like many Wisconsinites are, when the state is spiking into poverty under the governance of Scott Walker, when his bright idea is to give $1 million tax cuts to manufacturers,
hundreds of millions of dollars in tax cuts to manufacturers.
Well, I'm talking about the individual manufacturer. You got 11 people getting $22 million in individual tax benefits just on their state taxes under the manufacturer and agribusiness tax credit, effectively a 0% tax rate. And then you give that sweet deal to a foreign corporation like Foxconn. And because they're effectively, even if highly profitable here in the state of Wisconsin, not going to be subject to any state taxes, well, if you want to further sweeten the deal, you got to give them cash, up to $1.35 billion in pure cash payments.
Cash out of pocket.
Cash out of pocket. Cash from the state of Wisconsin, meaning from us. That's not coming out of Scott Walker's ass. That's coming out of my pocket. And we're giving it to a foreign corporation that, if highly successful and profitable, will not pay anything more than 0.4% back to the state in taxes.
It seems like we need a change in that policy, and perhaps in order to get that change, we need a change in government. Yes, we need a change from the Republicans in the Assembly, the Republicans in the Senate, the Republican in the governor's mansion. Why the giveaway? I mean, all your
who do you think pays their freight?
Well, of course,
Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce throw about $20 million a cycle into getting guys like Scott Walker, Robin Voss, and Scott Fitzgerald reelected.
When you're saving $300 million a year and not paying taxes, that's such a deal, dude. What a deal.
And then you just package it all up and give it to a foreign corporation. And tell the rest of Wisconsinites, you know, you can suck lemons if you don't like it.
Oh, it'll be all the
Scott holes in the road.
Supporting
suck
roles.
Lemons.
There'll be all that ancillary business that, you know, come down from Superior to supply the gravel.
Had to raise your own taxes to fund your kid's school? Suck lemons.
No, not too much, so we can't have too many of those referendums.
I would say it's a crime when in a supposed strong economy, the poverty rates are spiking in the state of Wisconsin, and the governor of the state of Wisconsin has done nothing except undermine the social safety net, undermine the working stiff, and cash the checks of the very richest and the corporatist. I mean, I know that's how politics are played, or at least that's how that corrupted son of a bitch plays them. You know, and don't give me the check. Give it to a third-party group.
Oh, that way no one will know.
And we have a uniquely corrupted campaign finance law here in the state of Wisconsin. I know I corrupted it and then changed it to cover my own ass and keep my ass out of prison, or at least from paying massive civil forfeiture fines. But Dom, you know, I just think it's criminal.
No, here's also the irony of this whole thing. You know, the fact that Scott Walker and the Republicans don't make an effort to raise the minimum wage to a living wage means that those who are getting the minimum wage are presumably eligible for a plethora of state support.
Every Walmart supercenter in the state of Wisconsin, on average, and I've seen this reported, the Wisconsin tax dollars subsidize employees of the Walmart Supercenter more than $1 million per location per year.
Subsidize every employee, not just at Walmart, because of course they're a huge employer, but every employee who is below those levels because of the policies of not having a living wage in Wisconsin. We subsidize it in already. We're already doing that. Be it one person at the bar or the coffee shop or 100 people at a Walmart, anyone who's below that specific number are getting subsidized by the rest. So it's still the socialist way, but it's just not, paid for by the big corporations and paid for by the tax dollars of everybody else.
You know, I whined a little about the minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. But I never waited or waitressed. What is it, $2.31 an hour?
Right.
Tipped income, minimum wage, $2.31 an hour. Can you imagine that? Making someone work hard, probably on a Friday or a Saturday night, and if the tips aren't there, they take home $2.31 an hour. And Scott Walker and his Republican ilk, they got no qualms with that. In fact, they would vilify that person if that person found it necessary to be on the social safety net. They would make them pee in a cup, accuse them of being some sort of drug user.
And lazy.
Because it's only the hard-working taxpayers that we care about.
Right.
You know, the hard-working ones from WMC, WRA.
There's plenty of hard-working people that don't make that kind of money. That's the problem.
Well, just the suckers pay taxes anyways. Isn't that what the president said?
That's right.
The guy that's coming to Milwaukee on the 29th to raise funds in increments of up to $100,000
for his reelection and in conjunction with the Republicans.
Well, it's not just his reelection campaign, Dom. It's also his legal defense fund. You know who else has one of those?
Scott Walker.
Yes, he does. Come back with us. More devils, more of your grievances. Last segment of the day, 844-967-2789.
I want to release my tax returns, but I can't release it while I'm under an audit.
They can go suck lemons.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
I'm Matt Flynn, candidate for governor. I'm a former chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. I'm a Navy veteran, and I'm running because we once had clean government, clean water, and high wages in this state. And now we have corrupt government, dirty water, and low wages, all as a result of Scott Walker. Walker is a policy mule for a Republican donor cartel. I'm going to beat him and take him out of office. I ask for your vote on August 14 in the primary, authorized and paid for by Forward with Flynn.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
The Devil's Advocates. We drink when we toast when we drink.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. It's Friday. It's the last segment of the day.
Thank God.
Last segment of the week.
Thank God.
So if you got a grievance, you have to air it now. 844-967-2789.
It's nearly stormy time.
Let's get to the phones. Our pal Pizza Box Mike. Hey, Mike, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. What do you got today?
Well, I'm really kind of depressed and discouraged today with the Wisconsin healthcare system. I was in the hospital the last 2 days. I have every so often I have a bout with colitis. So when I went in, they were examining me and they said, well, you've got a cyst or a tumor on your kidney.
Yeesh.
And they knew it 3-4 years ago. Every doctor I saw said it's been there for quite a while. And I was like, why didn't anybody tell me? And the only answer they had was, well, we didn't know it was going to be an issue. But I actually think, gentlemen, it was because I did not have insurance at the time. So I think I'll check in with a lawyer and see what the patient-doctor policies are in this state that you wouldn't tell me that this could be a risk for me. And now I'll probably have my entire kidney removed, and I will be laid up for quite some time this summer. So I'm really, I'm just surprised that nobody would even inform me or my parents when they were there.
Pizza Box
was there for the whole thing.
Pizza Box, A, we feel bad for your troubles, my friend, but B, do you know the Trump administration, through Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, has decided not to fight the lawsuit that hopes to invalidate many of the remaining provisions of the ACA Obamacare. That lawsuit, in fact, the very lawsuit filed by Brad Schimmel, the Attorney General of the state of Wisconsin.
I think we've got a case for universal health care, and I just want to tell everybody that listens and is a citizen in this state and in this country that the only way any of this is going to change is us demanding it. And I don't want to cause problems for the medical profession here in Wisconsin, but I really think I need to talk to a lawyer about this and find out why. And I'm sure this probably happens to a lot of people. I know it does with homeless people. They come in, they fill them full of antibiotics and send them out to die. really just kind of an awakening. And thank you, everybody, for wishing me well. And I'll do the best I can to recover from this.
Damn, Mike, sorry to hear, man. You know we love you, my friend. Anything we can do, let us know. Keep fighting. 844-967-2789. Let's get to Betsy. Hey, Betsy, you're up. What do you got for us?
Oh, I love you, Pizza Box Mike. I love you. You're going to do super beats. Stephanie Miller loves them. But no, seriously, that's a very serious subject. Scott Walker, since he's been around, we've been sucking lemons. And I'm sick of it. And I'm outraged just because it just, he's destroyed our state. He has destroyed lives. He has blood on his hands. And if he isn't a Benedict Arnold, I don't know what is. And thank God for you guys. And happy birthday. And you got other callers, I'm sure. Anyway, thank God for you guys. I mean it.
We appreciate it, Betsy. Thank you so much.
Well, I understand the analogy that Scott Walker has blood on his hands. I think literally what you're seeing is currency ink.
Huh. From the Red Russian money?
From the dark, dark money.
Let's keep going. Wisco Paul, you're up. Thanks for calling, man. What do you got for us today?
Thanks for taking my call, Devils. It's hard to follow that story here about you, Pizza Box. And right now, the GOP is running against the Affordable Care Act in the 42nd. So that tell the voters out there in the 42nd who they should vote for.
Do you see that crazy liberal Ann Groves Lloyd wants universal health care?
Correct. Yeah, that's crazy. It's the same ads. It's like it never changed, Crudy. It's, they don't call it the Affordable Care Act. They call it Obamacare. And Ann Lloyd is, whatever her name is, she's for a single payer, which, that would be great for a Pizza Box there. But I don't get it. Anyway, it was a lot easier when it was all about roads. Hey, one quick question for the end of your day. To me, this looks like treason. Maybe even Walker's involved. I don't know. But where do you boys think this is headed? And you guys have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks, Paul.
Well, I would say Scott Walker and Donald Trump are probably going to hell. Now, whether or not, what would be the punishment for treason? And I'm talking about Trump, not Walker. He's a petty criminal. But treason, the treasonous president, what we used to do with treasonous characters. You hang them high.
You hang them high. You make an example. That's what you do.
Is it time to reintroduce the guillotine into our society?
I'm not fond of the death penalty, so maybe just throw him in the hole for the rest of his life. It's not going to be that long anyway.
Folks, hope you have a wonderful weekend. Go out there, do something good. If not for others, then for yourself. Go see Stormy Daniels. I want to thank our fine guest today, Mahlon Mitchell. He's a fine Dem gubernatorial candidate. Don't forget, tune in all weekend long here on Resistance Radio. 11 o'clock tomorrow, Busted Pencils at high noon. It's our buddy Earl Ingram Jr., Joe Costa, Zamaripa at 3, and Dawn of the Resistance with our pal Maggie Dawn, 4 to 6 p.m. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll do it again on Monday, my birthday eve. All next week's all about our birthdays. And drinking and smoking. Not necessarily in that order. Have a great weekend, everyone.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
When Trump gets to the guillotine, you're going to be the first one to go.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The